Right, hey folks, welcome to a little introduction to a new pedal from the fine folks at Drybell. But before I get into talking you through the new engine pedal, let me please remind you to like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Also, be sure that you ring the bell so you're notified of all video content that we make in the future. Alright, let's take a little bit of a deep dive into this new pedal from the folks at Drybell. This is a company that I'm sure many people watching our channel will be aware of. John has in fact covered their products in great depth before, specifically the Unit 67 pedal in one of his John's Picks episode a little while ago. What Drybell are best known for is making these handmade pedals, handcrafted designs, just using no compromise components whatsoever, no compromise in the design. And what they're really striving for is to recreate some of the best artifacts that old vintage gear gives us as guitar players, but to provide it in a more modern, contemporary and usable format. Now that kind of rings true for quite a few boutique pedal manufacturers on the market, but something that makes Drybell stand apart from the crowd a little bit, I think, is that they're not afraid to really tinker with what those old circuits were able to provide. And in the spirit of discovering new tones and making them in more practical formats, the engine has been born. So, leading on from the Unit 67, which is fundamentally a boost pedal, which takes a lot of design elements from the old Rangemaster treble boosters, they've built that alongside an actual foundational preamp. And what that means is that they've designed this to provide the full basis of your tone. If you're looking for, as they claim, a 60s non-master volume style amp tone, if you want to achieve those kind of tones without splitting your eardrums apart by actually cranking one of those original amps, you can use this as the foundation to your tone. Now I will just provide this with a caveat and explain that I'm using this pedal today with a Dr. Z Remedy amplifier, which is already a Marshall style amp. Now this will work into any kind of valve amplifier that you have, but I do think that pedals like this often work best into a clean style amp that actually sounds like what you're trying to achieve, if that makes sense. So basically, the way I'm using this today is to simulate the tones that an amp like this will have when it's much, much louder, and I think that's exactly what they're going for with the engine. But interestingly enough, they've built this to cater to all types of amps. So whether you have a Marshall style amp or not, you can use this very powerful shape control on this little mini control here to really fine-tune the response and the mid-range, which is the most common kind of thing that never quite sits right with certain amplifiers. Certain pedals are voiced fantastically for a certain style of amp and not so well for others. But Drybell have catered to any style of amp using this shape control, as well as a more fundamental and classic level, gain and tone control that pretty much any overdrive pedal will have. I have noticed that the gain range in this pedal is quite phenomenal. You can take it from a very light, almost boost type territory, which just pushes the amp a little bit, and you can use the quite generous amount of level that's on board this pedal to really push the front end of your tube amp if you want to go about things that way. But you can very quickly start to explore the gain ranges that this pedal has to offer. And I used it mostly around the sort of 11 to 1 o'clock positions. I think that's where this pedal sounds its best. You can, however, push it quite a bit further and really explore the maximum that this kind of pedal, searching to emulate those non-master volume style amplifiers. It kind of gives you the best of what those amps had when you would absolutely pin them. Now it's also coupled with side B, which is basically a takeoff of the Unit 67. It incorporates certain elements that pedal had in terms of its range control. And according to the blurb that's written on the back of this pedal, in fact, the range is a powerful element featured in the Unit 67. It controls specific mid-frequencies needed for pushing through the mix while adding a glorious sparkle to the tone. So, all bump aside, basically what that means is that the range control really affords you a lot of flexibility in the mid-range, which, as everybody knows, is the most vocal and important and hearty part of a guitar tone. This has been designed as a very high headroom clean boost, so you can just use this to simply bump up your volume if it's time for a solo, or to use this as a boost to kick either this drive sound harder, or just plug straight into your amp. You can use it to kick the front end of your amp harder. And what's great is that these can be used independently of one another, and you can also affect the order in which they're placed with one another as well. So you can either have the boost running into the distortion for more harmonically rich content, or you can have it the other way, with the distortion running into the boost, which will provide a more functional volume boost and general tone shaping a little bit more dramatically and effectively that way. So it's a very classic Les Paul Marshall style setup, and this pedal absolutely delivers the goods if those are the tones that you're going for and you just want to expand the practicality of that style of rig, once again without having to obliterate your ears or the ears of those around you with volume. You can do it in a very nice way, and the folks at Drybell have just designed that phenomena of absolutely cranking a Marshall style amp with no master volume and distilled it down to a little box. If you want to find out any more information about this product or any of Drybell's other offerings, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below and heading to peachguitars.com. So thanks very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.